Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 12, Episode 9. And before we get into it, let me just tell you guys right now, I need for 90% of this cast to be fired. I have never been this disgusted watching an episode. I mean, this took me back to Potomac Season 5. And we all remember what a war zone that was, okay? But it's really not fun to have to watch and review a show when you have such a disgusting and toxic cast as Beverly Hills. Kyle Richards, I'm talking to you. This had better be your final season because your services are no longer needed. On top of you never having that strong of a storyline in the first place, Erika is going to be you and I. Diana, you already know I'm coming for you. And Rena, I have some choice words for you as well because especially what you said to Sutton towards the end, I said, oh, you got jokes. I said, not you of all people calling somebody passive aggressive with all the two-faced shady stuff that you do. But let me not jump ahead. Let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare and I have a lot to say. So the episode starts off right where we left off last week. Everybody's at Garcelle's party. Diana, Sutton, and Kyle are on the side having a conversation. Well, it was supposed to be a one-on-one with Sutton and Diana, but of course Kyle had to just mosey her way on over there because God forbid anybody have a private conversation without her being present. And like I said in last week's recap, I would have kindly reminded Kyle to please get the F out of my face and make your way back over to the rest of the other women because I'm not going to play with you. I'm going to have a one-on-one conversation with Diana. I don't need you here. You're not my chaperone. You're not my keeper. You're not Diana's keeper. So let us have this one-on-one in private. So you have Diana being smug, licking her lips, taunting Sutton. And right then and there, I would have said, shout out to everybody. I have fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I have fun.
I gotta be good.
I'm not even going to sit up here and have this conversation with either of y'all. Especially not Diana. I'll be damned if I'm sitting up there trying to have a one-on-one with you and you want to sit up here and mock me? I don't think so. So Sutton is trying to relate to Diana and she says, look, Diana, I've been where you are before. I had 2 miscarriages myself. Now, when she said that, any sane and normal person would have said, really, Sutton, I'm so sorry to hear that. You have Diana kind of rolling her eyes. She doesn't care at all. She thinks that Sutton's being self-centered. And then you have Kyle talking about, really, Sutton? I never heard that. Like, you never told me that before. And then to add insult to injury, Kyle goes on to tell Sutton, I mean, Sutton, I love you, but this is BS. Let me just pause right here and say that for a grown woman who is 55 years old, with 4 daughters, you should know better than this. I was just so floored for you to be so callous and so cold and so cruel to your friend. Your friend has expressed to you and another woman that she has experienced 2 miscarriages and all you have to say is, well, it's not about you, it's about her right now, and I never heard this before, you never told me that. That's what you have to say to her? At that point, Sutton should have left them sitting there on those couches and joined the rest of the party. I was just in shock. Like, Kyle, you really need some help. And don't get me started on people being self-centered, because that's Kyle all day. Kyle makes every single thing about herself. We have seen it since season 1. Anybody can share their experience, and here comes Kyle. Oh my gosh, me too. That happened to me when I was 5 years old, and remember how I was a child star, and it's all about her all the time. So for her to have the audacity to tell Sutton to be quiet, Like, do you hear yourself right now? So at this point, Sutton snaps, and so she starts cursing at Diana. I wasn't mad at this at all because I would have cursed Diana out a long time ago. Now, before I say this, I want to throw out a disclaimer because I know that somebody in the comments is going to try me. So let me just say this right now. I do not condone physical violence, but I do condone self-defense. And Kyle would have gotten some hands on her had she grabbed me up on that couch, because her manhandling Sutton at this point, I was irate. I was like, are we really watching this? And it wasn't like a light grab. She grabbed Sutton. I was in shock. Like, if you ever put your hands on me in that way, all bets are off. And had Sutton thrown a drink in Kyle's face for doing that, I wouldn't have been mad at her. Because Kyle, how dare you? First of all, you shouldn't have been involved in their conversation in the first place. But to sit there and search yourself and then have the audacity to jump in, gaslight Sutton, and then put your hands on her on top of that? And I'm just so curious to see what this energy is going to be like at the reunion. I'm telling you right now, I do not want to see one tear come out of Kyle's eyes at this reunion. I don't want to hear any stale apology. I don't want to see the waterworks. She can save it. I mean, when Sutton started sobbing, I was thinking, Sutton, please stand up. Don't even let these women get the satisfaction of seeing you cry. Diana was getting so much enjoyment out of it. I was just so upset. I was like, Sutton, I mean, if I were you, I would have never even had that conversation with Diana at Garcelle's party in the first place. I would have been too busy enjoying myself and dancing. I would not have been there trying to make amends with Diana. Diana throwing out buzzwords, trying to insinuate that Sutton's crazy. Because when she said, you know, I understand human nature really well, and it's clear that something's off with Sutton. I said, it's just so apparent that you came on this show with a vendetta against Sutton and Garcelle because Ms. Rena probably put you up to it. It's not a coincidence that the only people that you don't like are those two. Sutton and Garcelle are those girls of this franchise, and these women can't take it, and they're trying to take them down every single episode. Now, when I tell you that it just felt like these women were determined to mess up Garcelle's beautiful party, we see Sutton and Diana leave, and now it's the rest of the women. Erika at this point is shit-faced. She's asking the bartender for another drink that she doesn't need. And at the same time, she's hitting on Garcelle's oldest son, Oliver. Now, we all know that Oliver is married with 4 children, okay? So keep that in mind. Baby, Erika's hitting on him, doing some light flirting. She's like, Oliver, come here. I want to talk to you. So now she's like, Oliver, are you married? Like, are you seeing anybody? Like, what's your deal? So he says, you know, I'm married. I have 4 kids. And so Erika says, well, call your baby mama and let her know that you're going to open up the marriage and we can do a 3-way. So he's laughing. Dorit's in shock. Garcelle's looking like, okay, you know, like, Erika, I know you're drunk and all, but girl, calm down. Like, that's still my son. Now, let me just say this. I love a good joke. I'm pretty easygoing. The first time you say it, I'ma laugh. Second time you say it, okay, you know, ha ha, he, but all right, girl, enough already. Erika kept telling Oliver that she wanted to sleep with him about 10 times. And it got to the point where it was uncomfortable. You know this man is married. He has a wife and 4 children, so leave it alone. He laughed about it the first 2 times you said it, but now it's excessive. Now you've crossed the line. Now it's gotten disrespectful. And you thought you were being so funny by referring to his wife as his baby mama. He already told you, I'm married, I have a wife, and you're going to keep saying, you know, tell your baby mama to call me. Tell your baby mama to call me, okay? Like, tell her to contact me and we could have a 3-way. Like, you think you're so slick. And you're disrespectful. And you're lucky that Oliver is very even-keeled and he wasn't that flustered about it, because I know some people who really would have ripped you a new asshole by being disrespectful like that. So at this point, the party's over. Everybody's heading out. Erika and Dorit are still sitting on the couch. Erika is just plastered. She's just talking at the side of her neck. And I was thinking, Dorit, it's gonna kill you to tell your friend to stop making an ass of herself. Like, that's what a real friend does. Like, girl, I know you're drunk and all, but have some water and just be quiet because you're doing too much right now. And I don't want you to say anything that you might regret in the morning. But anyhow, as Garcelle and her boys are walking to the car, one of her twin boys named Jax goes back inside to get some flowers for her. So while he's getting the flowers, Erika says to him, Jax, like, get the F out of here. Get the F out of here. He's in shock. Dorit is stunned. Crystal says, I can't believe she just said that to you. And so she walks Jax out to Garcelle. Let me tell you something right now. I was so heated. If I could have jumped through this screen, I mean, Erika should have been torn up for that. Let me tell you something right now. I have been drunk many times in my life, and never have I ever cursed at a child. For Erika to act like that was acceptable in any shape, way, or form, I couldn't believe it. I was just thinking, am I really watching this right now? I said, Erika, the fact that a few seasons ago when Eileen Davidson was on the cast and you ripped Eileen a new asshole when she asked about your 26-year-old son at the time, and you told Eileen, don't you ever effing talk about my son. I mean, you cursed Eileen out because she asked a simple question about what your son did for a living. So nobody can ask what your grown son does for a living, but you can sit up here at your big age and curse at a 14-year-old boy. Make it make sense. And Dorit, you're pathetic, because for you to sit there, you should have cursed Erika out for that. Like, girl, are you serious right now? What the F is wrong with you? There is no way in hell that if I saw a grown-ass adult cursing at a child, that I'm going to sit there and not do anything. And when Jax told Garcelle what happened and she walked in there and confronted Erika, Garcelle, I love you to pieces, but you were way too calm for me. I said, now sis, I'm not even a parent, okay? And I was angrier, I felt, than you were. Because had that been me, and I'm all for being classy and not letting people get the best of you, but in certain cases, you need to make it known. You're not going to sit up here and disrespect my children. That's not going to happen. I was just so livid because the sheer disrespect. Erika would never say this to her white castmates' children. So why did she feel it was okay for her to say, get the F out of here, to her black castmates' children? And before any of you trolls start, because there's always a few of y'all, you always make it about race. I don't want to hear it. We're not going to sit up here and act like race does not play a big part in a lot of things in this world, because it does. So let's not. Before you even type that, I want to save you the trouble. Don't even do it. I'm not even going to play with you today. And Erika trying to play dumb, talking about Garcelle. What? Oh, Jax, come here, baby. Come here. No, we're not doing that, Erika. You said what you said. You said it with your chest. So miss me with all this, what did I say? I don't even remember saying that. I was just so irritated. And Garcelle, I need you to put the fear of God in these women, because they're playing in your face. And Erika, when Garcelle left, and you were whispering in Dorit's ear, talking about she's pushing it. I don't know what you meant by that, but I hope you can explain that at the reunion. I understand that Garcelle is not trying to be the stereotypical angry black woman, but in this case, it is more than justified. Because in my last video that I did talking about all this mess, y'all made it clear that Erika would have been picking her teeth up off the floor had she spoken to your kids like that. So again, Garcelle, at this here reunion, I need you to really go in on every last one of these ladies, especially Erika. Erika, you also need to thank God that Jackson didn't curse you out himself, because I'm going off of how I was as a teenager and how I still am now. Let me tell you something. That was one thing about it growing up. My parents were very much, look, be respectful to your elders, but if they say something crazy to you, feel free, okay? And I go by that now. I don't care how old you are. You are not going to sit here and disrespect me. And had she cursed at me at that age, it would have been me and her. I would have worn her out. I would have let her know in every which way that, sis, you will not be sitting up here talking to me like that. My parents don't raise their voices at me. They don't curse at me. So you damn sure are not going to be cursing at me. Erika, I know that you're mad at the world. I know that you're extremely upset at your money being funny and your Black American Express card being cut off. However, you need to watch what you say, especially when it comes to other people's children. So now we get to Kyle and Sutton. They're meeting up for dinner, and the Italian food in this scene looked delicious. If you know me well, then you know that Italian is always my first choice. I could eat Italian pretty much every night of the week, honestly. And that penne that Kyle had looked absolutely amazing. My mouth was watering.
I love it. I love it.
I was rolling my eyes throughout this scene too. Kyle giving a half-assed apology about how insensitive she was when Sutton was telling how she had 2 miscarriages. I said, Kyle, shut up. And I was really irritated by how Kyle was so dismissive of Sutton. She was like, Sutton, you're just so hard to have a conversation with. And it's like, well, Kyle, when you insinuate that somebody's lying about having 2 miscarriages, what kind of reaction do you expect? Let's use our brains here. Honestly, I wouldn't even have showed up to this dinner because I would have nothing to say to Kyle. At this point, I want Sutton to give Kyle her ass to kiss because I don't know how many times I can say this. Kyle is not Sutton's friend. She does not like Sutton. She throws her under the bus every chance she gets. Sutton is Kyle's punching bag. And the jokes truly write themselves because when Kyle was like, you know what, Sutton, you're just such a delicate flower. I said, oh, coming from the woman who cries at the drop of a hat about everything, she's calling someone else delicate? Kyle is the most hypersensitive, insecure, dramatic person on this cast, and she has the audacity to say this about somebody else. But this scene didn't give a whole lot. I wasn't feeling Kyle's dry apology. I'm sure she'll give another half-assed apology with the waterworks at the reunion. But it's the same old song and dance from her, so we can move on to the next scene. Now we jump to another scene with 2 clowns, Rena and Diana, and they're over at Diana's house just catching up. Rena just got back from New York, because remember that she was in NYC for Harry Hamlin's play opening, and so she's talking about that, how she's dealing with the death of her mother. And let me quickly say this, Rena. I saw that weak apology that you gave a few days ago, blaming your antics on your grieving process, and the fact that you are 56, 57 years old, calling people pussies and hoes on the internet, and you want to blame your mother's passing for you going nuts like that, that's a BS excuse and you know it. Of course, Garcelle's birthday party gets brought up. So here comes Diana. She's acting like the party was the worst party in the world. She's telling about how she and Sutton got into it, and she's twisting the story up. Because, of course, she's a liar, and that's what liars do. So she's telling Rena that Sutton was cursing at her and trying to compete with her about how she had a miscarriage. So now Rena says, oh my gosh, what? Only a narcissist would do such a thing. And I said, Rena, you're one of the biggest narcissists on this show. How are you calling Sutton a narcissist? Rena only cares about herself. She's not a friend to anybody. She's very two-faced. She backstabs every friend that she has on this show. Need I remind you of how she did Yolanda and Kim Richards and LVP and Denise Richards? So for her to call anybody a narcissist is really comical. Watching Diana and Rena in this scene, it's clear that they are both in cahoots to take Sutton down. That's the impression that I get watching Rena and Diana. And Diana, you want to sit up here and talk so tough, but I'll bet money that Diana skips out on this reunion because she knows that all the fans hate her, all the backlash she's received. Also, she probably knows that after this season, her Housewives career is over. So I will not be surprised if we do not see Miss Diana Jenkins at this reunion. So now we get to another disturbing scene with Kyle and Mauricio at home, and they're having PK and Dorit over because remember that Dorit and PK are their neighbors and they're also great friends. So they're making some small talk. Now, did you guys catch that conversation that Kyle had with Dorit when she was like, oh, I don't want you guys to move because we're neighbors. I like having you guys so close to us. And then when she said, but weren't you guys trying to sell your house before the robbery even happened? And you caught how Dorit was stuttering? I said, yeah, girl, tell the real story. Because your home was up for sale for $9 million. And nobody wanted to pay $9 million for that home. I think it was only worth $6 or $7 million. But you guys weren't getting any offers. And you guys were also facing all those lawsuits that you don't want to talk about on the show. And it just so happens that you guys are robbed. I said, very interesting. Because I also remember that their first house in Beverly Hills was up for sale. They were having money problems then too. And that house had been robbed as well. Just very interesting that every time they're having some financial issues and lawsuits and this, that, and the third, they have a house up on the market and then all of a sudden it's a robbery going on. But anyhow, Mauricio and PK join them in the living room and they start talking about Garcelle's party. So Kyle's like, oh my gosh, guys, did you guys see how funny it was when Erika was cursing out Jax, Garcelle's 14-year-old son?
Hold on, you guys, did you miss what Erika said to Garcelle's son, the 14-year-old, to go off? I was there. I mean, it's not funny, but it is funny.
I think it's great that she did that.
And they're all like, oh my gosh, really? They're laughing about it like it's the funniest thing in the world. Mauricio says, oh wow, she did? That's great. I said, Mauricio, can you explain to me what's great about a 51-year-old woman cursing at a 14-year-old boy for no reason? Would you have this same energy if Erika cursed out Portia? And if I'm not mistaken, Portia is the same age as Jax, right? So would that be, oh wow, that's great, if she were cursed out by a grown adult? And here comes PK trying to make a joke like he's on Comedy Central. And he was like, well, you know, Erika's having a blowout because first she was hitting on Garcelle's oldest son. Then she's cursing out the youngest son. Like, it's just so funny. And when Dorit opened up her mouth to say, well, you know, it's not my children. And I said, wow. So you only have the capacity to care about your kids and your kids only. That's very telling. And Miss Ma'am, weren't you the one calling Garcelle a bully last season when she didn't even do anything to you? Where is this energy for Erika? She's out here, out of control, cursing at kids. But yet you want to call the only black woman who has yet to even raise her voice to any of you guys a bully. Got it. It's the blatant racism and microaggressions for me. And Kyle, on what planet is a grown woman disrespecting someone else's child seen as letting loose and being free? Because like I said, I have been drunk plenty of times and I have never shown my ass in that way. So I'm confused as to how that's letting loose and having a good time. Also, Kyle, As much as you cry and whine about everything, had anybody ever spoken to one of your daughters like this, you would be crying about it for the next 5 seasons and demanding that the person who did it was fired. But because it's Garcelle's kids, you could care less. Kyle, to be honest with you, it might be better for you to just skip going to this reunion altogether, because I really don't see what you can say to make this all right. I don't want to see the tears. I don't want to hear how you made a mistake and you didn't mean anything. I don't want to hear it. And PK, you need to be slapped talking about Erika's entitled to have a blowout. A blowout does not mean that you disrespect someone else's child. But the 4 of them in this scene, they just look like the losers that they truly are. I mean, I can't wrap my head around people who are almost 60 years of age thinking that that kind of behavior is acceptable. So now we flip to the next scene and we are at Sutton's new home in Bel Air, and she's having this gorgeous and very elegant lunch at her home. She has invited all the women over. I said again, Sutton, you're way too nice, because Erika and Diana would not be invited to come to my brand new home. I am very, call it superstitious, but I believe in people's, energies and stuff like that. Your home is very sacred space. You can't have just any old body in your home, okay? So people that don't like me, I don't like them. We can meet in a park or in a public space, but you can't come to my home. So Erika and Diana would not have gotten invitations. If we're being honest, Kyle wouldn't be getting an invitation either. But like I've said, Sutton is a lot nicer than I am. Even though Sutton's home isn't 100% finished, it looks really good. They showed her kitchen, looked really pretty. I know that her fridge wasn't in yet, but for the most part, everything looked amazing. And the food at her party looked amazing too, especially the caviar. I'm a caviar girl. I'll have some. When it's there, I definitely will indulge. Yes, my mouth is watering already. Now, while Sutton is setting up for her party, we see a short scene with Garcelle and Cherie, and they're about to head out to Sutton's lunch. And so it was so funny because they had a glass of rosé before they left, and Garcelle was filling Cherie in on what happened after they were all leaving her party. So she's like, girl, Erika tried it. She was hitting on Oliver, talking about she wants a threesome with him and his wife. And then on top of that, she was cursing at my youngest son, Jax. So Cherie's like, girl, what? Are you serious right now? So Garcelle's like, yeah, girl, she sure did. And I didn't want to have a conversation with her while she was drunk. I want to have it with her when she's sober. Garcelle, you have a lot of patience because I don't. I would have had it out with Erika, whether she was drunk, sober, tipsy, in the middle. Me and her would have had it out. Period. I wouldn't be waiting to talk to her about anything. I would have told her off while she was drunk, and then told her off the next day when she woke up out of her drunken stupor. And every time I saw her, I'd be letting her know that I'm not the one or the two.
There we go. Thank you. And you're going to always get it again and again and again.
And I loved how her and Cherie toasted to setting a bitch straight. I said, thank the Lord that Garcelle has another real friend in her corner on this show. Bravo. I know you guys watch me. I am beyond appreciative. I'm asking this on behalf of me and everybody else. Please find it in your hearts to make Cherie Zampino a full-time cast member for season 13. She is the housewife that we truly deserve. And I've said it before, but her, Garcelle, and Sutton together, that would be the dream team. Fire everybody else, or you can keep one person. I don't even know who you should keep because I want all of them gone. But yeah, keep one person, I guess, if you have to, and then bring in some newbies. So now we flip back over to Sutton, and we see Rena arrive first. And Rena was actually in good spirits. She's complimenting Sutton's new home and talking about how lovely it is. And now Rena, while I cannot stand you, I love those Versace platforms that you had on. I can't even lie. Like, I need those in my life. I need those in that red and that pink. Like, those are everything. And I love a good platform too, but I digress. So now we see Garcelle and Cherie arrive, and now Erika arrives shortly after. And when I tell you Erika's whole demeanor, she was nervous as hell when she got around Garcelle. And Garcelle, I was waiting for you to pull Erika to the side and let her have it. You were just standing there. I mean, yeah, you know, you were being really dry towards her, but I needed more, sis. If that were me, I would say, Erika, come over here. Don't even walk to the bar. Don't say hi to anybody else. Me and you need to have this conversation right now. I was just laughing because Erika's always proclaiming how tough she is, but she could barely look Garcelle in the eyes when she got to Sutton's house. And I was screaming when Erika was at the bar and Garcelle was standing right there. And when she said to Garcelle, yeah, I'm only going to have one drink today, just one drink. And when Garcelle said, yeah, girl, one drink is all you need. Like, you're a one and done. So everybody's there except for Kyle and Diana. And now we learn that Diana won't be coming because she's sick. So now Kyle finally arrives. And now it's time for them to go outside and eat. So mind you, it had rained the night before. So the grass was all muddy, and I hate that. Like, when your heels are sinking into the mud, like, that is the worst. Especially when you have some brand new heels, too, and they're designer at that. Like, no. And I was cracking up because the ladies were like, do you have any flip-flops? Because I'm not trying to get my shoes ruined. And Rena was not having it at all. She was like, somebody needs to carry me over to that table because I'm not getting these Versace platforms messed up. I know people might think that that's a bit extreme, but I would have felt the same way too. And it was also really lovely because it was also chilly that day. So Sutton had her assistant bring out all her fur coats for them to wear while they had lunch. And she has some amazing furs. I was like, I know that's right, but are we surprised? Sutton has some long money, so for her to have all these vintage furs, I said, okay, I need to go to Sutton's house. So the food comes out, and Cherie, you are a woman after my own heart, because Cherie was like, is this all the food? I know I didn't come here for some salad and a few shrimp and scallops on it. Like, I need some real food. I said, Cherie, you and I are right here, because I would have been thinking the same thing. Like, okay, this is the first course, right? And then the second and third courses will be out shortly. Because I would have been waiting for a steak and some potatoes and some lobster tails after the first course. But I think that that was the meal. So while they're eating, Kyle starts asking Dorit how she's doing. Of course, Dorit is talking about how she just has all this anxiety and she can't drive by herself anymore. And she just feels like she has all this trauma built up inside of her. I'm thinking, this is Sutton's luncheon. Shouldn't the conversation be about her and what she's up to? Why do y'all keep bringing up Dorit and this robbery? It's enough already. So now the conversation changes gears and they bring up how Diana won't be coming to the luncheon because she's sick. So Sutton says, oh, well, she didn't tell me. Like, I had no idea that she wasn't coming today. And Garcelle says, you know what I think about that? That's very rude. And that is very rude behavior. And I'm surprised because since Diana prides herself on being so wealthy with so much etiquette and class, I thought that she would know more than everybody that it's very tasteless to not let the host know that you won't be able to attend their event. Diana is the first person calling somebody déclassé, tacky, rude. But now she wants to exhibit poor behavior by not letting Sutton know that she can't make it. I'm just so sick of the double standards, because had Sutton pulled the same stunt, we'd never hear the end of it. They would all be talking about how rude Sutton was for doing that. But like I said, they all have it out for Sutton, and that's why they're on her about everything. So here comes Rena being Diana's lap dog. She jumps in and says, "Oh, Sutton, you're calling her passive aggressive? Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? Because I was told that you cursed at her and also called her soulless." So I was thinking, Rena, do you not know what words mean? Because that's not passive-aggressive behavior. That's Sutton actually being aggressive and upfront. You dummy. Like, what are you talking about? I was laughing like you really thought you ate that, huh? But y'all, that's where this episode ended. As you guys can see, I was just heated. Because this season is feeling like a chore to watch. I watch these shows to have fun, for us to share laughs, share our thoughts about what happened, but I don't come on here to be irritated and annoyed. And it's a sad day when I'm this upset over a TV show that's supposed to be a fun watch. Housewives needs to get back to the original formula. I'm going to need for some major changes to be made for the Beverly Hills cast going forward, because it can't continue like this. The Fox Force 5 is going to have to be chopped down to the Fox Force 1 or 2 max. But we can't have Erika, Kyle, Dorit, Rena, Diana all on our screens at the same time. 3 or 4 of these ladies have got to go. But guys, I hope you all enjoyed my recap. Thank you guys so much for watching. And you guys already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.